What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for Bundesliga Week 31 predictions. Now, I said this at the end of my video predicting La Liga yesterday, but thank you so much to everyone over the last few weeks who left comments on my Premier League and Champions League videos asking where my predictions were for Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, and everything like that. I had no idea when I started this series this year that so many people were going to watch and enjoy it. And if you told me that the 3 prediction videos of the last game week would get more views than the Premier League video and the Champions League video, I would not have believed you at all. So the fact that so many people take enjoyment and information out of these extra league videos really does make me happy. So I'm glad you're enjoying them. Be sure to leave your predictions down in the comments below, and let's get started with Bundesliga predictions. Real quick, flashing up on the screen are all of the people that are supporting me over on the Patreon. And if you want to get involved, get access to exclusive members tips and accumulators, direct messaging access to me, access to the group chats, and of course a shout out in every single video, then you can do so by clicking the top link in the description. It's what's really allowed me to make all of the extra videos this year, put more time into the research and everything like that. So if you want to support me and get those perks for yourself, then you can click the link in the description. But let's delay no further and get straight into the first game. It is Stuttgart up against Heidenheim. This is a prime game for overs, a prime game for Stuttgart to bounce back and get a win. 1 win in the last 6, which is not even as good as Heidenheim's recent record. I think they bounce back. 3-1 to Stuttgart. I'm going to tip over 2.5 goals at 1.53. However, if you're a Stuttgart believer, you will do well to go for Stuttgart and both teams to score. Heidenheim coming off of a drubbing from Bayern Munich 4-1. Stuttgart drew to Union Berlin 4-4, but this loss here against Bremen, I mean, Bremen are decent, but that was unfortunate. And then, of course, a resounding win against bottom of the league, Bochum. So I think Stuttgart win. I think we see goals. After this, Bayern Munich up against Mainz. Mainz in 6th right now, chasing a European spot. Bayern Munich closing in, of course, on the league title. They're now 8 points ahead of Leverkusen after Leverkusen dropped points to St. Pauli. So all but done with regards to the league. Bayern Munich are going to win 3-1. The old faithful tip, Bayern Munich and both teams to score at 2.4. After this, it is Bayern Munich, as I said, drawing with St. Pauli after drawing with Union Berlin. 1 goal in the last 2 games. Up against Augsburg. I think they bounce back. I'm going to say a 2-1 win. Augsburg drawing against Frankfurt. Not a bad result and beating Bochum. The loss to Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich. It is what it is, but they haven't been beaten by anyone else. But logic suggests the next best team in the league probably has the best chance. I think they're going to get it here. And I'm going to press the button to go up from 1.32 to 3.4 with Bayer Leverkusen and both teams to score. I think those odds are really, really good. And I think it's quite likely with an Augsburg team who are having a decent season. After this, we have Hoffenheim up against Dortmund. We tipped Borussia Dortmund and both teams to score over on the Patreon. Dortmund coming from behind to beat Gladbach. Hoffenheim losing out to Freiburg. We tip both teams to score over 2.5 goals. So a good grasp on these teams. I think Hoffenheim score, especially against Dortmund. But I think Dortmund win 2-1. Dortmund making their way up the table, finally making a push. And what looked hopeless at one point now looks like they could possibly bag themselves a Champions League spot in the league. I think it's likely they take over Mainz, especially if Mainz lose to Bayern and Dortmund win. They leapfrog them. Freiburg coming up. I do think they will drop points this week. Leipzig, you just never know. I do think Dortmund have a decent chance to finish in a Champions League spot. It's all to play for them in this season. And I'm going to press the button again. These odds are great for a win, honestly, and you could look at both teams to score, you could look at overs. I'm going to combine it. Borussia Dortmund and both teams to score at odds of 3. And now after this, we have Holstein Kiel up against Borussia Monchengladbach. I think it's about time Gladbach get a win. I'm going to say 2-1 win, and the tip is going to be Gladbach to win at 2.15. Kiel just aren't very good. That's really the only way I can say it. They've won 4 times all season. So even though Gladbach lost to Dortmund, they lost here to Freiburg as well. I didn't know clicking that actually does that. That was an accidental click, but hey, I think they bounce back here, and I like the odds for a win. You could go both teams to score. You could go overs. I think there's a lot of both teams to score in this game week. I'm only predicting one team not to score this week, and it doesn't take a genius to figure out who that is if you look at the league table. But we'll get to that in just a little bit. After this is Wolfsburg up against Freiburg. Wolfsburg drawing 2-2 with Mainz. I actually think we're going to see a repeat result there. 2-2. And the tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at evens. I think that's pretty good value. It's difficult to split these two teams. I could even see just a straight up draw. I think Wolfsburg are a decent team, but they're on a pretty poor run of form. So I think Freiburg can get at least a point, even though they are the away team. Now, after this, it is Frankfurt up against Leipzig. If Frankfurt beat Leipzig here, you could argue that all but seals Champions League football for them next season, which would be really good. Frankfurt, obviously, disappointing exit from the Europa League at the hands of Tottenham Hotspur and Postecoglou, keeping his second season trophy hopes alive. I think this is going to be a draw. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I thought about both teams to score, but I'm actually going to say both teams to score and under 4.5 goals at 2.05. I considered BTTS and under 3.5, which is 1-1 or 2-1 either way. The odds were 3.2, but just in case we see a 2-2 or a 3-1, I'm keeping it onside with both teams to score and under 4.5 goals, but it increases the odds to above evens at 2.05. But if Dortmund win, go on to 48, Leipzig draw, that means Dortmund are one win away and one Leipzig loss away from getting into that fourth spot. So there's a lot to do in the Bundesliga. Other than the title race, there's a lot to play for. You've got the likes of Heidenheim, Kiel and Bochum battling it out for a relegation playoff spot. You know, they're never going to catch up to Hoffenheim, but one of these three can get to the relegation playoff rather than just outright relegated, which is huge. You know, a chance at redemption is unbelievable. And it should be Heidenheim, realistically. It should be Kiel and Bochum that go down and Heidenheim that have to play the second league team in the playoff. I quite like the way that's done, by the way. But yes, I do think we'll see a draw between these two teams here. After this, it's Bochum up against Union Berlin. Bochum, the favourites. How on earth are Bochum favourites for a game? I mean, they got the one win here against Bayern Munich. Make it make sense. That's just football for you there. You've got bottom of the league Bochum, 4 wins all season, a sea of red in their recent results, and then a random win against Bayern Munich. But I do think Union Berlin get the win, unbeaten in their last 6. Outsiders here, my tip is going to be Union Berlin double chance and under 3.5 goals. So that leaves on side 0-0, 1-1, 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 to Berlin, 2-1 to Berlin. So many results. And the odds are 2.05. I think that's absolutely incredible. I don't see Bochum winning, but I don't think Berlin are going to absolutely run riot and score 4 goals. So 1-0, double chance for Union Berlin and under 3.5 goals at 2.05. And the final game is Werder Bremen up against St. Pauli. St. Pauli getting a decent run of results. 1-1 with Leverkusen, 2-1 with Kiel. Of quite a few both teams to score, which is quite rare. Like, before this run of games here, it was rare that both teams scored in St. Pauli games. And I'm going to continue the trend. I think Bremen are going to continue this run here, beating Bochum, Stuttgart, Frankfurt. Good results. I'm going to say 2-1, and the tip is going to be Werder Bremen to win at 1.9. Here's a quick summary of my picks for this week. If you are a Bochum believer, then perhaps you could do both teams to score in every game. I think there's a lot of value to be had here. Even the likes of Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen, Stuttgart, Dortmund, Gladbach, these top 5, they are basically powerhouse teams in the league. Even the likes of Stuttgart and Gladbach maybe not performing as well as they want, Dortmund especially. These are all very good teams, and Mainz, the only real decent opponent there against Bayern Munich. I could see a win and both teams to score for the favourites in these top 5 games. I really, really could. I think there's a lot of juicy value to be had from the Bundesliga this week if you're brave enough to predict it. But that is going to do it for my Bundesliga predictions this week. If you did enjoy it, please do drop a like. Leave yours down in the comments below. Once again, thank you so much for the continued support on the channel, on these videos, the Premier League videos, the Champions League videos. I really do appreciate it. That is going to do it from me, and I'll see you in the next video very soon.